We're here for Daytona 500 qualifying day. I'm Alex Hayden of MRN, here to bring you all the action. Mock runs were made in practice, but today is the day to see who has the speed, the handling, but most importantly, the steadiness of the wheel to put together a perfect lap at over 180 miles per hour. Crews have pushed the cars out to the grid, and the drivers are ready to go. This is the first real indication of who's brought the fastest race car for the most prestigious race of the season. Who will be your Daytona 500 pole sitter? Will it be another Chevy front row lockout? A rookie pole sitter? Let's get the engines fired and session started.
Ladies and gentlemen, let Speed Weeks begin, or Speed Week, I guess, in this case, begin here tonight on the channel. We are racing the virtual Daytona 500 on NASCAR 22. Of course, this is the NASCAR 22 game, so all the drivers from last year's season in their cars that they raced in last season, and we are going to try to pull off an amazing upset in not only today's Daytona 500, but throughout the course of the season, as I will be driving a backmarker car for, I think, the first time ever in channel history as far as trying to go for a full season championship. Now, when I say full season, we are still going to have a playoff format, but it will be a full season with this driver that I handpicked, and I handpicked him because it is the last chance I have to race as him, more than likely, in a new NASCAR game. Never thought I'd have the chance to do it again. That would be Mr. Greg Biffle. For those of you that don't know on the channel, he was my favorite driver growing up as a kid. That's why on our older NASCAR gameplay, you'll see me run Greg Biffle from time to time on those games, hence NASCAR 06. We just won a championship on a custom schedule season there with him. Well, we're going to try to do it here. Usually I let you guys vote more often than not. You guys did vote for me to race as Kevin Harvick on the last season we won the championship. That was the actual 2022 NASCAR schedule. This is a custom schedule, and if you're wondering how I'm doing a custom schedule, well, I'm keeping track of points myself like I kind of did last season anyway, so we could pick the driver we wanted to race as for the season, but also I am keeping track of not only the points, but the schedule as a whole. We have a Google Docs page, which I will show you right here, right now. That is not it exactly. Give me a second. That's not it either. There we go. There's the schedule for this season, of course, starting things off with the Daytona 500 tonight. Not sure how many races a week we're going to be doing of this season exactly. Probably at least one a week, but I'm not sure how many more or less than that. I would like to get the season done before NASCAR 23 comes out. If we do have a new NASCAR game in 2023 or a DLC of some sort, whatever the case is, I want to get the season done before that. This is our final season of NASCAR 22. But not only that, again, this is a custom schedule season. There are very few tracks we're going to more than once. We're going to just go all pandemonium here on this schedule, try to make it as difficult for myself to win the championship already compared to what it's going to be, because we're going to be in a backmarker car. We're not going to be very quick at most of these racetracks, so we're going to have to really try to strategize our way, which is very difficult in this game to begin with because of all the glitches it has, especially with the scoring if we get any cautions at particular times. So qualifying is going to be important throughout the course of the season. I will be starting from the rear of the field certain races as well, if it becomes, for whatever reason, too easy. But I'm interested to see exactly what our speed is going to be like. We had SHR equipment, obviously, with Kevin Harvick, so we had pretty good equipment for most of the races we ran last season, hence the reason why I competed and won the championship, ended up winning 13 races of the 36. But outside of the Daytona 500 today, we actually have a Daytona doubleheader. Next Monday will be the end of our speed weeks, as we'll be doing a 50% night race at Daytona, our first of 4 50% races on the season. Then we head to Michigan. Could you imagine if they actually raced at Michigan in February, or early March? I mean, it would probably be like 40 degrees at the very warmest, if not majority of the time. I feel like temperature that time of the year, especially in Michigan, is probably like 20 degrees. But needless to say, we're going to be racing Michigan. We're going to have the Bristol night race early in the season. That's probably going to be pretty cool too. Then we go out west. We go to Auto Club, New Hampshire for a 50% race, our second 50% race of the year. Pocono, Phoenix, Dover. A lot of variations of racetracks early in the year, but all ovals at least so far for the most part. Dover's our third 50% race of the schedule. That marks off the first quarter of the season. We go to Talladega for the first time after that, and Atlanta, so back-to-back super speedways again, but two different tracks. The first Atlanta race will be 400 miles. Then we go to Bristol Dirt, The Coke 600 for our second Crown Jewel event of the year will be after that. I guess Bristol Night could be considered a Crown Jewel in some people's eyes. My eyes it is, with the Brickyard 400 not really being any longer. Charlotte Roval is going to be right after the 600, so we got a Charlotte doubleheader. We go Coke 600, Charlotte Roval, back-to-back. Talladega back on the schedule a second time. Then we go. I have Brickyard 400 on here, but this is the Indianapolis road course for race 16. Atlanta, again, another 400-mile Atlanta race. We're racing at each super speedway 3 times, all in the regular season, too. No super speedways in the playoffs. I want to see if we can break 16 different winners on the season, and that's going to be a very more than. I mean, when you have 9 of the first 26 races of the season being super speedways, I feel like you're pushing to have a good possibility of having more than 16 different winners. So that's what we're kind of looking at here. So we're really going to have to try to get a win, if not 2 wins here with Greg Biffle in this regular season. That's why the super speedways are going to be important for us. So after Atlanta the second time, we have another Crown Jewel. We have the Southern 500 at Darlington, followed by Road America, which is just our second road course race of the season after our 19th race. But back-to-back road races, you got Road America Watkins Glen, Martinsville under the lights for race 21. Remember, that's a 400-lap race. A third and final stop at Talladega. That will be a 50% race. Texas 500-mile race there. Another 500-mile race at Atlanta. That is the final Atlanta race of the season. Then we go to Sonoma in the second to last race of the regular season. And then the regular season finale will still be at Daytona for a 400-mile night race. That is the third trip to Daytona and the first since the second race of the year. Up to that point, that'll be the 9th and final super speedway race of the season. So when we get into the playoffs, we're going to have a mix of pretty much intermediates and road courses. The reason why I did that is because those are the tracks I tend to struggle at the most on this game. So that is why we are racing that. Again, I'm trying to stack the odds against me. I want to make this as difficult as we can. So we go to Kansas, Coda, Michigan in the round of 16. Second stop at Michigan. That's my home track, so I kind of gave it a little bit of love, giving it 2 dates. But again, Kansas, Coda, Michigan, that will be our first round, round of 16. Round of 12 will be Darlington for the throwback race, 400 miles. Richmond, which is actually one of my better tracks on this game, but I had to have it somewhere on the schedule because that was the only track when I was getting into the playoffs. I was forgetting one. I was like, what track am I missing on here? Richmond was it, so I kind of had to throw it in there in the middle of the round of 12. I could have adjusted it otherwise, but I didn't really want to put a Crown Jewel in the playoffs, so I wanted to have more emphasis on that race in the regular season, because otherwise I would have potentially put the 600 there. But needless to say, Richmond will be the second race of the round of 12. Las Vegas will be the cutoff race in the round of 12. Then we go to the round of 8. We have the Roval kicking off the round of 8. It's the second trip to the Roval. It'll be the final road course race of the season, so 7 road races, and that's the only one we go to twice. Then we go to Nashville Super Speedway and Gateway, so 2 newer tracks running the 34th, 35th races of the season. That will be the final 2 races of the round of 8. And then we're going to finish off the season where it used to be finished off for a long time, and that is Homestead Miami Speedway. So we'll be having the championship 4 back at Homestead. We have had a consistent streak of having the championship race be a super speedway. We've had a lot of fun with that. We've had some crazy races. We just had that with NASCAR 06 last week, and it was a crazy race. And it's fun doing that. But the reason why I didn't want to do it here is because the super speedway racing in this game in particular, it does get spaced out quite a bit if you make it to green flag pit stops, and even really if you don't make it to green flag pit stops. If the field gets single file, it is very, very hard to actually have legitimate pack racing like you would usually see on a super speedway. So that is why I have all of them in the regular season. Also, on top of the fact I want to see if we can get to 16 plus different winners, but I also wanted to make sure that we weren't going to have, you know, a championship race at Talladega where I'm like 3 laps ahead of everybody because of scoring glitches, because the field got spaced apart after a green flag pit stop. So I didn't want the risk of that happening and having kind of a dud for the championship. And Homestead, which we just raced at a couple weeks ago because it was the second race of the round of 8 on the actual 2022 schedule, we had a pretty interesting race there for the first half, and then the scoring glitches took place. But I was on the bad end of it because the intermediates I tend to struggle at the most. I think I only won at 1.5 miles on the NASCAR 22 season. Out of 8 or 9.5 mile races, we ended up only winning 1. So that is the schedule. Let me know in the comment section if you like the schedule variation that we have going on here. I think it's going to put a lot of emphasis on winning in the regular season. Sure, we might not have as tight of a points battle at the end of the regular season like we did last season because we might have more than 16 different winners, but that could also play into an even bigger points battle, though, if we do have 16 different winners, because then we're going to have guys with one win that may not be locked in, and that could be us. You never know, because we are racing as Greg Biffle, which it is not Roush Fenway Racing mid-2000s Greg Biffle. This is Greg Biffle New York Racing, a team that ran part-time in NASCAR last year. I think they only made like 5 or 6 starts, and Biffle ran all of those races, and it was at the very beginning of the season. I think 2 or 3 of them were on super speedway, so I have no clue how we're going to be running on the intermediate tracks, super speedways. Honestly, at Daytona during speed weeks, I think he had a 12th place finish in his duel or something like that, so I think we'll be pretty good on the super speedways, so really have to take advantage of that. We got 9 chances basically to try to win probably 2 races of those super speedways, and 2 of them are 50%. I don't know how we're going to do for qualifying. I would imagine we're probably not going to have great single car speed. We have not qualified yet. I'm about to do that right now, and it looks like we'll be the last to go out. And because this is based off of 2020, it's weird. So this is the 2022, driver lineup, and it's the next gen car. But the qualifying is based off of 2021 because the NASCAR 22 side of it was a patch update. So this is technically all the rules from NASCAR in 2021. So that is going to lead to not having knockout qualifying on the ovals. They did not have that in 2021. They only had it on road courses. So road courses will have knockout session qualifying, kind of like you would see now. But on the ovals, it's not going to take the top 10 and then you requalify the top 10. It's just literally 1 lap and that's it. I think the super speedways, you get 2 laps. And then the short tracks, you get 2 laps. Intermediates is 1. So that's what we'll be looking at in qualifying. I won't show qualifying on every stream necessarily. But because it's the Daytona 500, wanted to show it for you guys. So it looks like Austin Cindric is going to be the driver who has the time to beat Denny Hamlin outside of the front row right now. There's no dual races in this game, so the single car qualifying is going to set the entire field. And we don't have to race our way in, even though we're a non-chartered team technically. So, yeah, we'll hope for the best here. I just realized I don't have the right camera on. Hang on. I didn't realize it was like that. Luckily, I didn't start anything. Sorry for that. But Austin Cindric is the top time right now to beat. It was like a 50, I can't even remember what it was. It was a 50.9. He was the only one that was below 51 second lap time, single car speed. No stability help on here for Daytona in this season opener, so we'll hope for the best. We got a nice Grambling State paint scheme. I have to say, I do like this paint scheme. And it's kind of somewhat sentimental, not because it's necessarily Greg Biffle, but my high school logo looks almost identical to this one. So that's another reason why I really want to get this die cast, because it was similar to that and the fact that Greg Biffle made a comeback out of nowhere to run the Daytona 500. It was my first Daytona 500 I went to in person last year. So definitely want to get this car at some point in time. I'll shout everybody out who's been in the chat. Sorry I haven't done that yet. I'll make sure I do that after qualifying before we start the actual race. So this is going to be the first time lap. Warm-up lap is in the books. Greg Biffle trying to go for the pole in the Daytona 500. He never qualified on the pole in the Daytona 500 in his NASCAR career. Never won the Daytona 500. His first career win came in a summer Daytona race in his rookie season in 2003. It's the only restrictor plate / super speedway win in his Cup career as well. He's always a force to be reckoned with in the Daytona 500. Always had great cars. Roush had great cars. Had some wins at the time, a couple from Matt Kenseth, but Biffle was never able to quite get to victory lane. Came close a couple times in the early 2010s. Car's handling pretty well right now. Through this first lap, he's going to have one more lap to try to set the quick time. 49.36, not the 6.7. That should be the pole time. Blistering speed for Greg Biffle. He's going to be on the pole in the Daytona 500. See, we don't even need the duel to set our lineup. Why am I that much faster than everybody else? This is on expert difficult. Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot there's a glitch on the super speedways where qualifying times aren't accurate. I forgot that was a thing in this game. Like, my qualifying time is like a second. What the? I didn't even get to finish the second lap. What was that? I've never seen that before. Of all the glitches we've had with this game, I've never seen it cut myself out in the middle of a qualifying lap like that. I've had it in session qualifying, but not a 2-lap qualifying. And I just realized Austin Cindric isn't even the guy I beat. They just completely changed the order, unless it was practice times I was looking at. Those are slow practice times. The race, these times are a little bit more accurate. I wasn't a full second ahead of everybody. Still got the pole. And the actual pole sitter for 2022 is going to be on the outside of the front row. That'd be Kyle Larson. Look at all the HMS Chevrolets. And the game knows what's up. They know Hendrick Motorsports dominates qualifying at Daytona. They have them 2nd through 5th. And I was the only one that beat them. How about that? New York Racing on the pole for the first time ever in the NASCAR Cup Series. And Greg Biffle will be on the pole for the first time ever in the Daytona 500. Beamer 66, Philip Moore, James Strupko, Ethan, Ashton Moy, Seth Thomas, Michael Turner, NASCAR Cup Series 2311 Racing, and others. Welcome into the stream. Got 28 people watching. Again, our Speed Weeks begins. You can see scrolling at the top of the screen tonight the streaming schedule for the rest of the week. We'll be doing live commentary streams all through Speed Week, starting with Daytona 500 qualifying tomorrow night. So, and then you can see the adjusted times, obviously, through the rest of Speed Weeks. But tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'll be talking about that, obviously, more throughout the course of the race. Well, let's get into this one here today.
I'm Alex Sadin, welcoming you to the Daytona 500, the great American race. 40 of the world's best stock car drivers are ready to tame this 2.5-mile super speedway. Today is about avoiding the big one and giving yourself a chance at the end. Drivers know what's at stake: a virtual playoff lock and a chance to engrave their name on the Harley J. Earl Trophy. This is what teams and drivers have been prepping for the entire off-season. Let's head down trackside to fire the engines.
Alrighty. It is time for our Daytona 500. We will have stages on this season once again. Again, playoffs on this custom schedule season as well. Again, we'll take a look at the starting 10. I didn't really do that on the other page. Again, Greg Biffle, Kyle Larson on the front row for the Daytona 500, both looking for the first career Daytona 500 victories. Alex Bowman, William Byron will start in row 2 for Hendrick Motorsports as well. Also both going for the first Daytona 500 wins. Byron has a summer Daytona victory back in 2020. Chase Elliott and Eric Almirola will line up in row number 3. Elliott has won at a super speedway 3 times in his NASCAR Cup career, now at the newly revamped Atlanta Motor Speedway, twice at Talladega, but has never won at Daytona. Eric Almirola has a summer Daytona win back in 2014. That was rain short, and he's trying to actually capture the checkered flag under green flag conditions today. Ross Chastain and Martin Truex Jr. will line up in row number 4. Truex has never won on a super speedway. Chastain won at Talladega in real life last year in the spring, his only super speedway win. Denny Hamlin, Daniel Suarez will round out the top 10. Hamlin a 3-time Daytona 500 winner. Suarez looking for his first career win because, again, technically we're restarting the 2022 season, so I guess Chastain, Suarez, those guys do not have a win in their career. Tyler Reddick as well. So we'll see if they can get their first career wins this season. Denny Hamlin is the only Daytona 500 winner starting in the top 12, it looks like. And then you got to go back to Logano at 13th before you find another Daytona 500 winner. So maybe there's a good likelihood that we see a new Daytona 500 winner today. Our crypto also welcome into the stream. Earl Arnold Jr., welcome in. Landon, welcome. And here we go. Got 20 likes on the stream already. We had 28 people watching a little bit ago. We're about to get this one underway. Avoid the big one. Yeah, we'll hope that there isn't one today for our sake. And if it happens, hopefully it's behind us. Green flag is going to be in the air. The Daytona 500 and our Speed Week coverage is underway. And Kyle Larson going to get the quick jump as he got a great push from his teammate, William Byron, to take the race lead. Who will lead this opening lap? Got to be patient. Again, no stability help in this game, so you really don't want to have to make any contact. Biffle pulling down to the bottom lane on the back straightaway. Kyle Larson on the outside. Alex Bowman going to go with the 44. Does not go with his teammate. And Biffle's going to get to the lead in turn 3. Pole sitter trying to lead the opening lap of the Daytona 500. Something in our Throwback Thursday streams we did not see a lot of. And Biffle looked like for a minute there he wasn't going to lead the opening lap with the run Kyle Larson had off the start. Most of the cars down on the bottom though behind Biffle. Biffle leads lap 1 with Kyle Larson right on his back bumper now, as he was able to get in front of the 48 into the middle of the tri-oval. Bowman still in 3rd. Byron scored 4th. Biffle from the pole leads the opening lap of the Daytona 500. And no rear view mirror in this game, so it makes super speedway racing even more difficult. You've got to hold on to the front of the field as much as you possibly can. Larson to the outside with the run. Biffle may get freight trained here, but trying to be patient in the early going. He's going to go for the lead when he gets runs, but he wants to make sure that he's not going to make any over-aggressive blocks this early in a 500-mile, 200-lap race. Larson trying to lead lap 2 after Biffle led lap 1. The 48 of Alex Bowman moves up off the bottom lane. Byron giving the 44 a big shot. Biffle to the outside of Kyle Larson now as they run side by side for the lead. And Byron going with the 44. And I think Byron might have side-drafted Larson enough on the back straightaway. Biffle was able to pull clear before getting into turn 3. Gets back down to the bottom. Have 3 lead changes. Well, actually 2 lead changes technically in the first 3 laps. Biffle on the pole led the opening lap. Larson from 2nd leads lap 2, and Biffle will lead lap 3. Larson peeking to the bottom lane there. Biffle left a little bit of it open. Larson almost went down below the WL line to pass. Can't do that. Eric Almirola cracking the top 4. Larson going high. Biffle may get hung out. No, Byron actually goes with Biffle, and Almirola went down to follow the 24. So the Hendrick car is not really in a cohesive unit here in the early going, which is probably why Biffle has led 2 of the first 3 laps. Make that 3 of the first 4. Larson gets so close to that left rear corner panel in the middle of the tri-oval, and it honestly scares me every time it goes down towards the apron. Can't pass down there, but you get such a big closing rate. Best place to be, though, is in the lead in this game on any track in case a caution comes out because of scoring glitches. You know at least that you're not going to go lap down when you're leading. But it looks like the entire 40-car pack is all nose to tail still in the opening laps. Our first season on NASCAR 22, I finished 17th in the Daytona 500 with Kevin Harvick, so this is our second and last chance to try to win the 500 in this game. And trying to do it with Greg Biffle. "65 laps in stage number 1 today. And then I believe 65 in stage 2. Final stage will be 70. lane changing going on there. Larson trying to keep the 48 behind him, trying to get a run on the 44 of Biffle as well. At least we know Biffle's got good single car speed, which is probably making it even more difficult to pass. And tires do matter on this game on literally every single racetrack, so we will be pitting for 4 fresh tires every single time we have a pit stop today. And it's also a huge incentive to not have any major moments, even if we don't wreck, to try to keep those tires underneath us, not wear them out too much. It's definitely a lot more intense on this game, on the super speedway racing when you're in the pack, just because there's no rear view. Like, I can see Larson there with the far chase cam, but I can't see what's going on behind him to see where the runs may come to make an early block if I so choose, and that's part of the reason why they get to the outside, they have a big run. I'm not even going up to block because I don't know what's coming on the bottom, and more often than not, we're going to want to keep the inside lane. Biffle's able to pass Larson on lap 2 for the lead on the outside lane, but he was able to get down to the bottom before he got into turn 3. He knew he had a big enough run, went for it. Byron almost got underneath the 44 that time. Looking towards that outside lane into turn 3. Not quite going to be able to get there. I think the bottom may be open for somebody else to try to make a pass. Nope, Byron gets back down to the inside. Derek Booth, thanks for tuning in. I don't have a pick yet for the Daytona 500. I've been getting asked that a lot recently. Usually I don't make my predictions until after I see cars on the track, just because I know it's going to change. I'm not one for liking to change my pick. Usually I take a pick, I stick with it, but that's why I make my picks later in the week. Usually the day before the race or the day of, in most cases. Larson to the outside. He's definitely there. He didn't aggressively side draft Greg Biffle, though, that time. Wonder if a car got underneath him, which stalled his run out, potentially. This Hendrick car is looking strong, though, in the early going. A lot of Chevys up at the front of the field, though, right now. And obviously Biffle is one of them. Lap 10 already in the Daytona 500, still caution-free. Biffle trying to control the pack as much as he possibly can. Equipment-wise, though, there is a lot of other strong cars behind Biffle. And again, Biffle trying to take advantage of the Daytona 500 in any super speedway race. We have 9 of them in the regular season. 3 at each track: Atlanta, Talladega, Daytona. 2 50% races. 1 at Talladega, Daytona. So the likelihood of having 16 different winners, pretty likely. And knowing this is a non-chartered team that ran part-time in the Cup Series last year, will be running the full schedule, trying to go for a championship. This is not going to be easy by any means. We're going to be slow on a lot of tracks. We're going to have to try to find a way to get some speed in a lot of these races. It's crucial to score points, too, because if we have more than 16 different winners and we only get 1 win in the regular season, we're going to need to capitalize on points as much as we can, especially on these super speedways. So trying to stay at the front to get the stage points is going to be very, very crucial. More than likely, this first stage is going to be just 1 stop. I'd like to think everybody should be able to split it in half. Byron to the outside, has a big run. Eric Almirola goes behind him. Biffle got to cut off the 10 car, and Byron will take the lead for the first time in the Daytona 500. Will he lead back to the line? He's getting way out ahead of the 44 at Biffle. Biffle's getting a big run in the middle of turns 3 and 4 now. Which way will he go? He's got to go to the inside of the 24. Byron does not lead that lap at the line. It'll be Biffle still continuously leading. He's led every lap since lap 3. And Almirola gets to second following the 44. Ross Chastain, another Chevy, now in the top 5 for the first time. Byron got to the lead pretty quickly in the back straightaway, but Biffle cut off the momentum from that 10 car of Almirola to get quickly into second. There's a block down to the bottom. Doesn't try the double move to the outside. The run ended up stalling out once that first block was made anyway. Biffle just wants to lead as much as he can. Even though we don't get bonus points for leading laps in this current day and age of NASCAR, it's just where I feel the most comfortable. Almirola trying to look to the outside. Not quite going to get there. Into turns 1 and 2. Ross Chastain moving his way up now to third. Chastain going low. Has a bit of a run. 10 car going to go down to block. Byron now trying to lead the charge on the outside. And Almirola into the tri-oval, looking towards the top. Chastain to the bottom. Biffle blocking both lanes. Been very racy in these first 15 laps. Chastain not quite able to get to the lead there. He blocks the 10 car to the outside. The 44 stays hooked to the double yellow line on the bottom. Who do I think will miss the 500? Yeah, I don't want to make that prediction yet either. I'd probably lean right now towards the money team and Travis Pastrana missing the 500, but I'll have to wait and see what qualifying looks like, obviously. I'll have more predictions when we get into our qualifying stream tomorrow. I want to make some predictions at least of who I think will advance based off qualifying. And then for the dual race, I'll make, obviously, those final predictions of who I think will miss. But I'll take it one night as we go. Gives me more talking points during those live commentary streams, especially tomorrow with having single car qualifying. Almirola looking to the outside. Biffle staying on the bottom. Almirola might have been alongside. Oh, Biffle moved up maybe a little too late. And it looked like Chastain may have lifted to let the 44 back in line on the bottom. Either that or he got held up by a car that might have side drafted him on that right rear corner panel if Almirola did so. Or Byron. Biffle holding on. Byron with the 1. Dakota Rooster, thanks for tuning in. By the way, is that airplane taking off in turns 1 and 2 like every single lap? I feel like I've seen it a bunch already. Can't be that many flights leaving Daytona this close together. They're all going the same direction, too. They're all leaving out. Nobody's landing. Chastain to the inside. Biffle led that lap by inches at the line, but Chastain is going to have help from William Byron. Biffle slides in line between the Hendrick Chevys of Byron and Larson as he falls back to about third place. Gonna have to manage the throttle in the middle of the corner here. Car got a little loose on him off of turn 2. Byron potentially going to try to go for the race lead. So if Biffle does not lead this lap back to the line, it'll be our third lead change of the day. It'll be the first lap led likely for Chastain. It looked like Byron got a little loose. Handling maybe a little bit of an issue for some of these drivers. Kenneth Clark also welcome into the stream. I'm excited for this week. Honestly, I didn't think I'd be as excited for Speed Weeks this year just because I went to my first Daytona 500 last year. What the experience would be like, you know, not going back this year. And honestly, I'm just as excited as ever. Just with knowing that, you know, we're back in full swing with NASCAR. It's the biggest race of the year, the countdown to it, biggest week of the NASCAR season, and get to commentate all the racing for you guys this week as well, so I'm pumped. Chastain leading for a little bit right now. Biffle just figuring out where he wants to time the run. It's difficult because it's not just one car he's got to pass here. He's going to have to go with two, and he's got to hope he gets enough help to potentially pull alongside the leader also. Byron moves off the inside. There goes Biffle down to the bottom. Gets under the 24. Byron going down to try to side draft the 44 of Biffle. And Elliott maybe going to go with Byron here. Biffle's going to lift to let the 24 back in. He got crowded quite a bit going into the corner. It's going to build up a gap between Byron and Biffle now. With Biffle getting out of the throttle. Hasn't made contact with anybody and wants to keep it that way. Doesn't even feel comfortable bump drafting, honestly. No stability help in this game. I just don't trust it. And he actually, with lifting there, cost himself quite a bit because it's a two-car breakaway all of a sudden. With Chastain and Byron. I need those two cars to split up. Elliott to the outside. Byron maybe trying to make a move for the lead on Chastain. They get side by side, they'll definitely hold each other up. But even just hopping out of line just for that little bit, it's allowing this group to catch back up to that two-car tandem. I'm just out of drafting range to get a big run on Byron. Larson is up behind Biffle. Now Biffle's in the draft and he's got a big run. 24. Gonna move off the bottom. Biffle goes to the outside. Goes with Chastain to get to second and moves back down in front of the 24. That worked out perfectly. I was really hoping we were going to have him clear going into the corner because I was scared I might have been stuck on the outside lane with a car in front of me and cars potentially behind me and on the inside. I'm fine with being on the outside if I'm not boxed in. Especially with the tires wearing out. Handling becoming a little bit of a factor. Biffle moving up. Byron moves up just a hair as well. Not enough of a run there for Biffle. He's pulled out of line. Now he's got Byron closing in. He's going to block the 24. Hops back in the draft quickly on the 1. Now he'll look to the inside of Chastain for the lead in turns 3 and 4. Chastain's led for a little bit now. Oh, Biffle had to lift. Got a little loose in the middle of the corner. Tried to keep it off the apron. And Byron's going to make a pass for second. Yeah, handling's definitely an issue here. The car is fast, so I don't really want to make any adjustments. I'm scared with this game anytime I make an adjustment, especially without stability help. I don't want to tighten it up and then have to lift to make it into the corner, because then we're just going to suffer. Every track is so treacherous on this game with no stability. Booyah, get Yanks. Thanks for tuning in. Think of them not coming out in NASCAR 23. I mean, it's not good. But I don't know too much in detail on how, true that may be, or... I mean, that's going to be 2 years in a row they don't come out with a NASCAR game. That 1 year, hurts. But I think people were okay with it if it meant making a better game when, the next year comes. And to not even have a game that year, too, that's very disappointing. Hurts the growth of the sport. Hurts as fans of the sport that like playing games. Hurts, YouTubers like me. Hurts in a lot of ways. Biffle has not had the lead for a little bit now. After Chastain took it at about lap 17, he's led the last 10 laps. A little over a quarter tank of gas left this point in the run still. Byron, can he get to the outside of the one? Nope, not going to happen. He just hasn't even been able to get alongside of him. Biffle got alongside of him for a brief moment. Biffle underneath of Byron. Might get hung out here. Almost did. Gets back up in front of the 10. And the 10 gets down in front of the 9. Mark Truex Jr. trying to get into the picture. And that 19 just saw him battling for 6th with Larson on the leaderboard. Big run off turn 4. Biffle going to the outside. Kind of pulled the 10 car a little bit. Was able to get back down to the bottom. Chastain staying low. Byron moved up. Biffle's got a big run. See, they didn't go together to the outside, and that's what allowed Biffle to get to the lead off of turn 2. Now Marola gets cut off by the 24 on the bottom lane. He tried to follow Biffle. Didn't quite work out for him. Chase Elliott going to get around him now on the top. So there are more cars up there in the back straight at least. Our 4th lead change of the Daytona 500 in the first 28 laps, and Greg Biffle's back in the lead for the 2nd different time. Make that 3rd different time. So 3 different leaders, 4 lead changes. Larson led 1 lap. Chastain led about 11 to 12. Biffle's led the other 15 or so. Starting on the pole. Larson started outside of the front row. Chastain started in the top 10. I think he was back in row 4. A lot of Chevys qualified inside the top 10. I think Hamlin was the only Toyota in the top 10, and Almirola might have been the only Ford. I think the rest were Chevrolets. Both Trackhouse cars, all 4 Hendrick cars. Greg Biffle. Maybe missing another one. Oh, Truex, that's right. There were 2 Toyotas. Truex started top 10. 7 Chevys, 2 Toyotas, and 1 Ford started in the top 10 today. Getting close to green flag pit stops. That'll be interesting. Gotta stay out of the pits as long as you possibly can in this game in case we get a caution. We've seen yellow flags. Cars try to get to pit road in this game because they try to pit from the middle top lane. The good news is Biffle's in the lead. That'll be the best thing for him. Chastain holding back. Maybe going to try to get a run on the Biff in the tri-oval this time. He may have a massive run going into turn 1. Oh yeah, he definitely does. They split apart behind him a little bit. Biffle just able to block the one car. Chase Elliott got to get underneath. We're back to single file again. Chastain going low. Biffle holds on. Biffle definitely wants to hold on to the lead. Obviously, as long as he can. We've already mentioned that a few times already today, but especially as we get close to green flag pit stops. It's going to be all relying on the pit crew to have a clean stop. Wade, welcome into the stream also. "32 caution-free laps in the Daytona 500 so far. Green flag pit stops coming up. Really, any given lap, we could see cars hitting pit road. Biffle's led all but about 12 or 13 laps today. Chastain keeps backing up off turn 4 to get the run on Biffle, and they have major runs going into turn 1 every time with that. There's that airplane taking off into turn 2 again. Blocking Chastain to the top, to the bottom. Chastain back to the top. Biffle got to go there as well. Accordion line all the way down the back straightaway. Biffle's definitely got a car capable of winning this race today. Has to be smart when he needs to be. Be very interesting to see who all pits during the stage break. If anybody pits at all. We know Greg Biffle's definitely going to pit. I don't know about everybody else, though. Chastain briefly got to the outside of Biffle. Biffle going to stay out this time by all the way to the start-finish line. Nobody in the lead pack pits this. Lap 35 now. Good chance Greg Biffle's going to pit this next lap. So he's going to want to protect the bottom at all costs, so he can pit this time. We'll have 30 laps to go in the stage when he comes off of pit road. Chastain gets to the outside, but again, Biffle did not want to block in there. And Ross Chastain is going to get to the lead. Second different time he has led today. Elliott to the outside of Biffle. He will not be able to get to the bottom if he's going to try to pit here. It's going to be interesting. We know the 44 is coming in. Not sure if the 1 car is coming in. Got to make sure not to lock the tires up. Don't want to spin. Can't speed. 55 miles per hour is the limit, and Biffle is in. He was the only car of the lead pack to pit there, which is very interesting. Not sure where that's going to have him cycle. That could hurt. 4-tire stop here for Biffle. No adjustments. Leaving pit road is going to be just as difficult as getting in to try not to spin out, knowing this game when you don't have stability help. So, got to hope for the best. Maybe a little slower getting up to speed as a result. Got to take care of the tires, though, too. Well, we've survived to this point. We've led a lot of laps. Number 1 pit box may hurt leaving pit road as well for Biffle. For green flag purposes. Biffle getting up to speed down on the bottom of the racetrack right now. The leaders are coming. Biffle not quite up to speed yet on the back straightaway. It's close. Oh, Elliott might go up the middle. He thought about it. Ran out of room going into turn 3. Chastain may actually get hung out here. Elliott could get to the lead. Biffle back on the lead lap. That's good. Because whenever the leaders decide to pit here, which it looks like they're going to pit right now. Not all of them, but most of them are pitting. It's a good thing Biffle was ahead of him still. Chase Elliott leads his first lap of the day, staying out an extra lap. Where will Greg Biffle cycle through green flag pit stops? So we know we can go 35 laps on fuel. Why commentary? Why driving? You mean while driving? That's the gist of the channel. I'll tell you what, the cars that don't pit, the pack with the cars that do pit, they check up so much. You just saw that from the back marker cars further up the field. Biffle is up to 34th. Past very few cars that have already pit. Couple cars leaving pit road right now on the back straightaway. Really hoping this stays green so we don't get caught in the scoring glitch. Biffle being one of the first cars to pit. Definitely the first in that lead pack. I think leading as many laps as he did, he wasn't able to save as much fuel as everybody else. Now we're going to have to watch these cars pitting just up ahead. A couple of them pit. And a couple others slow up as a result here in the tri-oval. Biffle's coming in hot. He doesn't want to have to lift any extra. Everybody stays to the outside. There's Byron. That's a car he was battling for position with, so that's a good pass for Biffle. Couple cars trying to get up to speed down to the bottom of the racetrack as well. Harrison Burton, Kyle Larson from that lead pack. Back straightaway, Larson moves up. Biffle zigzags around the 21 and the 5. There's a couple more spots. Chastain's already cycled out ahead of Biffle. He's in 22nd right now. A lot more cars coming into the pits. William Albright, thanks for tuning in. Oh yeah. Getting the skills ready for this weekend too. Just with all the live commentary streams throughout Speed Week. Again, I'll be doing live commentary tomorrow night, Wednesday, Daytona 500. I'm not going to be at Daytona like I was last year. So we will be doing live commentary streams all the way throughout Speed Weeks. And every truck Xfinity Cup race I don't go to in person this year as well going forward. But we got some extra racing with the dual races. And because it's the Daytona 500, I'll be doing qualifying tomorrow night as well. I don't plan on doing qualifying for every other race. And J.J. Yaley getting up to speed in the middle of the corner. Biffle ducks down to the bottom. Larson was not able to do so as quickly. Now we've got cars checking up middle of the back straightaway right now. Biffle's going to stay on the gas to the outside. He gets by Chastain. Chase Elliott's just up ahead, who cycled out of the pits in front of him as well. Got cars leaving pit road down on the bottom. Moving up in a hurry. Elliott all by himself though right now. Bell is leaning on that apron, so is Logano. So Biffle has cycled into second place. But Elliott was all by himself, and Biffle's got a big run on the 9 car in the back straightaway. No chance for Elliott to pull a block. Biffle going for the lead. Elliott goes down to try to side draft, can't get him. Biffle leads for the 4th different time in the Daytona 500 with about 25 laps to go in stage 1. McLeod coming out of the pits, about to go a lap down in the 78. Biffle stays on the gas, gets underneath him. Elliott going to get stuck behind him for a little bit. Logano up to 3rd. Had a good cycling through pit stops. Still got more cars leaving pit road on the bottom. All these guys going a lap down right now. We haven't had a caution at stage 1. If they get trapped a lap down to the end of this first stage, it's going to be tough for them to get back in contention to win this race. Yeah, I'm just ready for tomorrow. I'm just as excited for Speed Weeks to get started. We're going to alternate through the different camera angles for the first time in the race today. With a little over 20 to go in the stage. That pack is starting to form together here, and if they can get by BJ McLeod, I'd like to think that they're probably going to end up closing in on Greg Biffle eventually. Justin Haley, last car on the lead lap for Call League Racing. Biffle got to get by him on that double yellow line. Above it, of course. Yeah, if there's any backmarker cars that are leading these smaller packs, they definitely hold people up. And even the bigger packs, I mean, McLeod has held up second on back enough to the point that they're 3 seconds behind Greg Biffle right now. How about Biffle trying to win the opening stage of the season? Get that early playoff point. We're going to need as many as we can, knowing the track's in the playoffs with this custom schedule season. They're going to get around Justin Haley and BJ McLeod eventually. Well, Haley's still 3 seconds ahead of him. Once they get by McLeod, you're going to start catching Biffle again. This 4-car group up here, if they really get to racing, Biffle's going to end up catching them. And if they run a decent pace, that could help him stay ahead of the lead pack for a little bit longer. But a pretty calm first stage so far. Eerily calm. That's some good racing. Spaced apart after green flag pit stops, but you'll usually see that. Just a matter of when will they all form back together if they do. It's a little harder on this game. A lot of it is just because of the lap traffic, really. Long ways to go in this one. But we know we're about to have that first caution of the day at the stage break in another 20 laps. We'll definitely catching this 4-car group up here. Garrett Smithley, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., AJ Allmendinger in this group. I think Keselowski may be in it as well. Got a single car they're catching up to also. Four-car group, now a 5-car group. Biffle very close to getting to him. And by the way, Joey Logano got by the 78 of BJ McLeod finally, but he's 6 seconds behind race leader Greg Biffle. Biffle's so close to catching this group up ahead of him. Although that could probably hold him up, though, too, knowing that he is full throttle right now. And he won't be for too much longer. And all these cars are going to be fighting to try to stay on the lead lap to the end of the stage, so it is not going to be easy passes for Biffle. They're going to be racing him pretty hard. We haven't seen this many cars in a pack in front of Greg Biffle all day today, so it'll be interesting to see how he handles it. He's going to be a little patient right now, backing way out of the gas. Got about 6 or 7 cars in this group now. Biffle trying to manage the throttle as best as he can. Just does not feel very comfortable trying to pass these guys yet. So Justin Haley still holding up Joey Logano. A little contact going into turn 1 between AJ Allmendinger, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. As much as Biffle would like to put these guys a lap down, he needs to be patient. The big picture is winning the Daytona 500. And honestly, the first big picture is winning this first stage, which he's got 17 laps. Really going to try to hold on to the lead up until then. But I don't think this pack is running a good enough of a pace right now that those cars further back are going to end up catching up eventually. That's a much bigger pack back there, too, than this pack. Wormy Machine, thanks for tuning in. This is expert difficulty. Take the game off easy. It is not on easy. We got it on expert. That second group's going to end up catching this group, though. Without a doubt. They'll have plenty of time to get around me, too. They'll probably catch me with about 10 to go in the stage at this rate. I mean, they're like a half a second faster a lap, if not more. And Biffle's the last car in this group, so when they get there, they're going to have a massive run on the 44 if he's still the last car. Just how much longer is Biffle going to want to be patient before trying to pass these guys? Kurt Busch up on the outside. He's kind of getting out. He'll move down in front of the 47 of Stenhouse, it appears. That group is getting even faster, too, because they're single file now. Versus this group, they're all lane changing quite a bit. Now they'll lane change a little bit on the back straightaway behind us. Biffle with a little bump draft to the back of Stenhouse. First time he's even tried to bump draft anybody today. He's trying to get these guys organized is what he's trying to do. That's not really going to do much. That pack is humming. They're going to get here a lot quicker than what I thought they were going to. There's still 15 to go in the stage this time by. It is really got to be time to go here if you're Greg Biffle. Dragging the brakes a little bit, just trying not to make contact with anybody, especially going into a corner. Going to get down on the inside of the 15. Garrett Smithley. He does not have him clear either, and the draft is all on the outside right now. Biffle's going to have to stay in line behind him again. Two seconds is that second group back from the race leader, Greg Biffle. Again, there's no stability help on, so just a little bit of contact is all it can take to turn a car around. That's another reason why Greg Biffle's being so patient, because he is in a great position in the early going of this race. They are doubling up further back there now, but they are getting close enough that they are definitely going to catch the smaller group. Biffle really wants to get ahead of these guys, put more lap cars between himself and the second place cars. They are not quite in the draft yet, but they probably will be either on the front stretch or the next time down the back stretch. Now there's contact between the 15 and the 47 right in front of Greg Biffle. Stack them up even more. I do not want to be in the middle of this pack. This is not going to be fun for my sake. I'll be sweating bullets to the end of stage one. This is the first time Biffle's going to be right in the middle of the pack. He hasn't been worse than the third or fourth car back in a pack so far. Into the tri-oval. Here we go. Biffle leads that lap at the line. We have 13 laps to go still at stage one. Justin Haley has a run. 15 going down to block the 44. A little bump draft. Haley likely to the outside. That really stalled Biffle out quite a bit. Haley stays in line behind Biffle. He thought about going high to make a move. Thought better of it. Biffle's going for it now. Back straightaway. Underneath the 15, he's just trusting everybody on his outside right now. A very tense situation in the Daytona 500 here in stage one. Everybody trying to hold their lane in the pack. Biffle's determined with just staying on that double yellow line as much as he can. Backing up a little bit there in the tri-oval. Justin Haley gave him a little bit of a push. Haley's a lap car. Stenhouse moves up. Biffle underneath the 47. Again, all these cars in front of Biffle trying to stay on the lead lap to the end of the stage. Biffle's at least getting by some of these guys now. Biffle under Brad Keselowski. Oh, he clipped the apron into the tri-oval. Had a big moment there. He's going to have to merge up before getting into turn 1. Everybody zooming by to the outside, 2 and 3 wide. Biffle falls back to about 8th place. Clipped the apron in the middle of the tri-oval, and it just sucked the car down to the asphalt on the infield there. Good save by Greg Biffle. And very lucky to merge back into traffic with no rearview mirror. Everybody escapes to the outside. Now he's got even more cars in front of him. He only had about 4 more in front of him at the time. Oh, they checked up majorly into turn 1 there. Biffle riding the brakes, getting into the corner. This is nuts. They just lane changed so much on the back straightaway, too. Major runs on the outside. Biffle's in danger of falling outside the top 10. And not getting any stage points despite leading the most laps in the race so far. Just got underneath Harrison Burton. That's another spot. Still has the 21 to his outside. He's managing the throttle. That's why he starts to go backwards and then moves forward all of a sudden. Everybody just kind of checks up quite a bit in this pack. Another big check up there into turn 1. It's 2 laps in a row they checked up quite a bit. Just try not to damage the race car. Risk wrecking with any contact as well. We're moving up on the 27. Moves down on Burton. Really managing the gas going into turn 3. Oh boy. Big shot from behind there. Harrison Burton in the middle of the corner jarred the car a bit loose. Down about 7 laps to go with stage 1 in the Daytona 500. There's a push to J.J. Yaley going into turn 1. Mix of lap cars trying to get back on the lead lap to the end of the stage, and lead lap cars trying to get stage points and potentially win stage 1. Hole opened up on the bottom there. Just a bit for Biffle. Has to stay above that double yellow line. Really just doesn't want to be 3 wide going into a corner. It's hard to judge exactly how many cars are above him as he makes passes. Spotter's not very reliable in this game. Checking up majorly in the tri-oval. There was contact a little bit there between Biffle and Bowman. I don't think there's anybody on the outside. Well, contact between Kyle Larson, Joey Logano getting into turn 1. The eye of the storm in the Daytona 500. And we usually see the big ones late in the stages too. Late in the stages, late in the race, and we're getting very late in the stage. Might have been contact going into turn 1. Biffle got a little sideways, and now he's going to get turned into the wall. There it is. Caution is likely going to come out. Greg Biffle involved with about 7 laps to go at stage 1 in the Daytona 500. We have our first caution. I think Josh Bilicki made contact with Greg Biffle there. I honestly don't know if I moved up, which caused the contact. I definitely got loose and was kind of all over the place after I made contact with the 77, and that is unfortunate there for Greg Biffle. As he'll be dropping to the back. I don't think that's going to end the stage, though. Definitely going to have to make some repairs. No tires and fuel. Almost had a rollover in the middle of the corner. And our first caution of the day is out. And there's definitely some damage on this 44 car. I don't think he's going to be a lap down. That's the good news. The bad news is he's got some damage. Green flag back in the air. A one-lap shootout in the stage. Whoa, I did not do that. I did not do that with the car. The car... Oh, we got a blown left rear. Oh, the left rear tire's out. That's why we spun. Well, good thing it's the last lap of the stage. We can limp it. I had no clue the left rear tire was blown. It's like, how did I spin randomly? Good thing it's the last lap of the stage. Greg Biffle will finish on the lead lap. Only 23 cars will be on the lead lap when we go back to racing. Time of the caution. I can't run. Don't hit the wall, don't hit the wall, don't hit the wall, don't... Go! Guess it, guess it, guess it. We're good. I think we're okay. There we go. Stage is over. The stage is over. And it will be Chase Elliott winning stage 1 in the Daytona 500. Ross Chastain will end up 2nd. Christopher Bell 3rd. William Byron 4th. Joey Logano 5th. Alex Bowman 6th. Harrisburg 7th. Kyle Larson 8th. Eric Almirola 9th. Kyle Busch rounds out the top 10 through stage 1 of the Daytona 500. No stage points for our driver Greg Biffle. Unfortunately, after leading so many laps after qualifying on the pole, that is tough. That is very, very difficult. It's hard to swallow, honestly. That is not good. The good news is we're on the lead lap still. The bad news is this car is damaged. But yeah, Chase Elliott gonna win stage 1. So he is technically the points leader right now. So on to the stage break. The good news is that we did have that one lap shootout. Biffle can take 4 tires now. I would imagine everybody else is going to stay out and then pit early in the next stage. More than likely. And you just got to hope that this damage isn't going to slow the 44 car down much. Now, the good news is, again, he is likely the only lead lap car to be pitting right now, so he could make up. Obviously, getting back to the lead. Be interesting if we see any more cautions, though, with everybody in this giant pack when they come into pit. I believe Biffle was the only car on... there actually was a few other cars that pitted with him. He wasn't the only one to come in. But I think he was potentially the only car in the lead lap to come in. 65 laps, stage 2. The Daytona 500. Here we go. Right back in the middle of the pack again. Which is not good for us, but Biffle's got a lot fresher tires than everybody else. They all checked up on the outside, and look at how much space there is on the bottom. Right now, at least. Cars could really be pitting any given lap. Which is going to be scary, honestly, with this many cars in front of us. So Biffle's going to really want to get going. It's going to be tough with the damage. Westman, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, no practice, just simply qualifying tomorrow. There's no practice before the duels, I don't think, either. I don't think their first practice session is till Friday. They have a practice session Friday and Saturday. Pumu, thanks for tuning in. Pumu Penguin. I don't like the way this car's handling right now. Damage to the front and the back. I mean, he was loose all the way through the corner. Had to jump out of the gas as it just hooked a left there. As you saw. Yeah, this car is not going to be great. It is all sorts of beat up. You can see the damage to the back, the front. I don't know how many cars were involved in that wreck, but quite a few. Wreck right at the end of the stage. It's what you fear on the super speedways. We got to give a push to the 41 of Custer. Custer moves straight to the bottom as soon as he got that push. Freed up Greg Biffle to get by him. All these cars he's passed since the restart. Been a lap down. Are they pitting? Nope. Biffle just had a major run off turn 4. That gap he had built between himself and Stenhouse, he lifted quite a bit too because he thought they may have been pitting. Even if they do pit, I mean, they stop on a dime in the middle of the track. We're not going to have time to miss it. We're going to have to just hope we're in a different lane. I can get on the brakes all I want, but then if I lock the brakes up, I risk spinning out myself. It's tough. It's kind of a lose-lose situation, really. You have Ty Dillon pitting in the 42. We have to hope, though, if there is a caution, it is before the leaders get to the start-finish line so Biffle can remain on the lead lap. He doesn't have any drafting help in front of him anymore. It's going to be tough with this damage, but he'll get to the lead once everybody pits. Magic Marlin, thanks for tuning in. Call the game in third. I just do realistic commentary. Just as I would for the actual live commentary races of the real races, I do the same thing for the video game side. Well, hopefully there's no big one. That's what I'm hoping for. Got 30 likes on the stream. Be sure to hit the like button. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content if you haven't already. 71 laps complete in our Daytona 500. We've had 2 cautions, 1 stage break, and then we had the big one with about 7 laps to go in stage 1. And we had a 1-lap green-white checker shootout on the restart. Chase Elliott won stage 1. Greg Biffle ended up 23rd. Last car on the lead lap. He was caught up in that wreck. You can tell he's got damage. He's losing the pack. The good news is, when they all decide to pit, should have enough time to miss him. Should. Problem is, he's losing that pack right now. He definitely isn't as fast as he once was, which is a shame because he qualified on the pole. He led the most laps in stage 1, but didn't even get a stage point to show for it. He's running barely inside the top 10 at the time of him wrecking, right around 7th or 8th. Lost the track position in that pack. Larson's your pick to win the Daytona 500. It's an interesting one. He ran pretty good last year. Until he caused that late wreck. I think he, what was it, a block on Harvick that caused it? Or was he pushing him and turned him? One of the two. Now, 1 car pitting out of that pack at the tail end of it. Chase Briscoe was in. Actually, it might have been it was Noah Gragson. First car lap down. Biffle up to 20th. He's had 1 car in front of him pit. He's pulling away from everybody behind him. Although they might have all pit by now, who knows. Everybody else is going to have to pit at some point in time. Again, the rest of the stage, including Greg Biffle, who pitted during the stage break. And because he's not as fast, they're going to catch up to him eventually, but he's going to be able to lead by himself for a little bit at least. He's far enough back if they wreck all trying to pit at once. He'll be able to miss it, but he's got to hope that the leaders, again, do not get to the start-finish line, because there's a scoring glitch in this game where if you are on the lead lap, you're on the right, you pass the start finish line, caution comes out, everybody else behind you gets trapped a lap down, even though they're not actually a lap down. '62 just cycled off a pit road. Bull already a lap ahead of him before he pitted. He's 2 laps ahead. He'll clear him off the exit of turn 4. You got one car pitting from this pack just up ahead, and they are going very slow in the tri-oval right now. It's allowing Greg Biffle to close in quite a bit. They all checked up for just that one car. And here's Biffle with a run on the 14. Immediately looks to the outside. Now, good news is he caught him. The bad news is they're all going to be pitting probably next lap. A bump draft to Harvick in the middle of the corner. It's not ideal. They all jam up. That is not what I wanted to do. And Biffle's just going to have to hope for the best right now, because there's going to be a lot of cars probably pitting. They're already checking up. They were already checking up. And he just barely got to the outside in time. And they're checking up some more. Oh my gosh, he actually missed it. He's up to 3rd. Logano leads. Larson still out on the track. They have to pit yet. There were very few cars that actually pitted out of that lead pack that last time, but Biffle's up to P3 again. The wrecking earlier. Still in the lead lap, though. He's so close to cycling back into the lead. He's very fortunate that caution didn't end this stage, because he wouldn't have been able to pit for fuel or tires, but because we had that one-lap shootout, he was then able to pit following the restart. It's my rule, if I get involved in an accident, I can't pit for fuel or tires for an unfair advantage, so. I would if everybody else pitted, but that's not the case, and you don't know when exactly the AI are going to pit. Logano Larson staying out another lap. Got Bowman for the pole, Byron to start 2nd. Isn't Bowman going for a record for most front row starts in a row in the Daytona 500? I kind of hope he gets it just to see history. There goes Larson. Logano into the pits finally. Biffle back to the lead. First time in stage 2 he'll lead. And he's definitely going to try to lap as many of these guys coming out of the pits as possible. He's got some drafting help in front of him right now. He's keeping up with the 6 and the 47. There's a lot of line on the back straightaway. Got some other cars trying to get up to speed that are going to move up. 2 of Cindric trying to get up to speed. Yep, Biffle was already underneath the 47. Kind of picked him behind Cindric. It's good that Biffle's going to have a little bit of drafting help here. Lap Eric Almirola, who's still trying to get up to speed off turn 4. We know he's got a fast car. A lot of other cars still on pit road and are just now leaving the pits. With Ty Dillon, not sure which way he wanted to go there. Decided to go high. Dillon checked up. Austin Dillon now on the outside. Biffle down low. So now he's got a little bit older tires too. Got a run on Byron. Into the tri-oval, all clear. I mean, the fronts, we've had worse. We've had worse front end damage. Like this is still visible. So that's good. Just 7 cars on the lead lap right now. Three didn't stay with the 24 there, and Biffle holds clear on both cars into turn 3 yet. Biffle will have to pit before everybody else, so he'll end up giving this lead back up again. At some point. But everybody is going to have to make one more stop in the stage regardless. Communist Legos, thanks for tuning in. 31 likes on the stream. Appreciate you guys all hitting that like button. Again, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content if you haven't yet. Just got through pit stops early at Stage 2. Chase Elliott was your Stage 1 winner. Biffle leads right now. Didn't get any stage points at Stage 1. Got caught up in the big one with about 7 laps to go at Stage 1. That was our only caution for incident. We've had 2 yellows total if you count the stage break. Everybody stayed out during the stage break except for the Biff, who pitted, took advantage there. And that's why he's back in the lead even with the damaged car. He's got some speed, but he has lost quite a bit of it. Not quite as fast as he once was. And the handling definitely is lacking as well as a result. As many cars seek and trap a lap down to the end of Stage 2, the better for him. Should be able to go 35 and 35 in the final stage, which is 70 laps, to be able to make it on one stop. That will be the game plan. But he's really going to have to stretch that fuel run out. If we get any cautions, that's going to really put an interesting take on the strategy in that final stage. Because we're probably looking at everybody having to pit twice in that stage, assuming they'll stay out there in the stage break again. Just like they did in this last stage. Bell finally getting caught by this 3-car group. Biffle, Dillon, and Byron. Biffle to the outside of the 20 in the trial while trying to lap Bell, who finished 3rd in Stage 1. Biffle is clear and moves back to the bottom in front of the 20. 6 cars now in the lead lap. Cody Ware is one of those cars. Well, he cycled off a pit road pretty well. Bell to the outside. Biffle's just going to let him go. If they have the run, he's just going to let him go. He's not battling for position. He already had to bite one bullet today. I don't know how many more he can eat before he wrecks out of the race completely. Qualifying starts, our coverage starts at 8. I think it's scheduled to start at 8:15. I'm not sure if the airtime starts at 8:15 or 8, but we'll be live at 8, regardless. You can tune in right here, and the actual qualifying will be on Fox Sports 1, so if you're unable to watch it, definitely tune in. We'll have full coverage. See who will time their way in through qualifying to make the race in the Daytona 500, and also see who will qualify and start on the front row. Byron staying with the 44. Biffle down on the bottom. Christopher Bell, Austin Dillon up on the outside, and it looks like Byron going to go with him. See, Biffle definitely doesn't have the same single car speed he did. Because he was able to make those passes pretty easy without damage, and now he can't even complete them. Definitely going to make it interesting as this race progresses, though. Worst thing that can happen here is Biffle loses his 3-car group, and it's looking like that may be the case. They're going to pull side by side, though. Dillon and Byron working together on the inside to get underneath Bell. Might allow Biffle to stay with them. Now they'll merge, but Biffle was in the draft at least enough at the time. He'll remain the last car in this group. Byron moving up off the bottom. We're going to pass him. Byron may lose these guys now. Full under Austin Dillon. Now under Christopher Bell. Couldn't clear Bell. Dylan working with him still. Or Dylan. Sideswipes Greg Biffle, middle of the back straightaway. And that stalled the 44 car's momentum out because now him and Byron are losing the 3 and the 20. They are catching Cody Ware, though, who's all by himself. That could slow those cars up again. Hungry One, thanks for tuning in. I like how it says we are Grambling on the back. Makes me think we are gambling. I actually used to think it was Gambling State. When I was younger, I had heard of Grambling State. I always thought it was Gambling State. Little did I know. Cody Ware gets blown by the 20 and the 3, so they didn't really get held up by Cody Ware. They got around him very fast. You'd have to think Biffle should be able to do the same. Have to wait and see if William Byron will be able to do it also. Biffle blocks the 24. Getting a nice draft off of Cody Ware now. Biffle goes to the outside. Got around him. Byron got stuck behind him. Now Byron gets above him. In the middle of the corner. Oh, he couldn't actually do it. Ware moved up to block him again. Back to just 7 cars on the lead lap, and Byron's losing time. Once he gets around him, he should have faster single-car speed than the 44 with Biffle's damage and older tires. And Biffle's only got about a third of a tank of gas left, so he's going to end up having to pit here sometime soon. Louisiana allows gambling, so you weren't realistically too far off. Well, there we go. I actually didn't even know that this college was in the state of Louisiana. I figured it was somewhere down south, considering it was a historical HBCU college. Historically black community college? College university, that's what it is. I forgot what that stood for a second. Byron's still stuck behind Cody Ware, and he's a full 5 seconds behind Greg Biffle now. Biffle in a much better position than what he was at the end of stage 1. The thing is now, though, is will he still be able to finish on the lead lap to the end of this stage? That's yet to be determined. I should say to win the stage. He'll finish on the lead lap. How many cars will be on the lead lap, though, is the question. Because he could trap quite a few cars a lap down. That's going to better his finishing position in the final stage at the very least. Camera angle's a little challenging. I can see in the corners, the straightaways. Whole different story. I can see fine with this camera angle. It's the other one that's difficult. So the field's spaced apart now. But again, I don't think the stage win is locked up, though, because we know Biffle's pretty far off on speed right now. Everybody still has to pit one more time. And he has 0 drafting help, so definitely couldn't just sit behind Cody Ware, because obviously you see what's happening with Byron with that. He had to get around and at least gapping him. But the top 7, they are hauling the mail right now trying to catch Biffle. They're going to have to catch the rest of those lap cars, though, that are behind the Biff first. And then get by Cody Ware, and then from then trying to work themselves forward. Biffle was able to go 35 laps in a full tank of fuel during the last stage to start the race. It's going to be interesting where he blends out of traffic, because he's not felt comfortable in the pack today, hence the big one towards the end of stage 1. He was right in the middle of a giant pack. I still don't even know exactly what happened. I don't know if I moved up. It's probably me moving up just a hair and the 77 moving down just a hair, and that's all it took. So a little bit of contact, we got loose. And honestly, if I didn't clip the apron, I think it would have been fine, but I got a little loose, clipped the apron, and then I overcorrected it when I clipped the apron, cut right back into him, and a few other cars collected, obviously, as well. Getting close to our first pit stop of the day, though. Sorry, first pit stop is stage 2. Second pit stop of the day. Or third. Did I say second? Third pit stop of the day, first of stage 2. My brain all jumbled there for a second. Not as much drafting help this time around either, and I wonder if he might be using more fuel with the damage, too. Stage school, yeah. Not that I was a dropout, but me trying to form that sentence a little bit ago might have seemed like it. Biffle continues to run in no man's land right now. Probably looking at lap 35 to pit. I mean, maybe running a little bit slower, maybe I can pace even better on fuel. Guess you never know. You know what? You're very correct on that. This game can fry the brain. Those glitches and bugs. Biffle will be the first car to pit towards the middle of this stage when he does end up pitting. Does seem like that giant pack is getting a little bit bigger, which means Biffle may be closing in, which also tells me that there's some slower cars that are leading that pack, holding them up. They are 2x2 most of the way through it also. Biffle's going to be pitting well before them anyway, but be interesting. It'll be a 4-tire stop. No adjustments will be made. Once again, this will be the 3rd stop of the day. The 2nd under green flag conditions, though. Lap 35 will be next time by. Good chance Greg Biffle will pit then. Got the number 1 pit box as well. So lap 35 at stage 2 now. Greg Biffle will pit this time by. To make sure not to speed. $30 laps to go when he comes out. It'll probably be anywhere between 10 to 15 more laps for everybody else ends up pitting again. Biffle pitted during the stage break. He's about to surrender the lead. It's going to allow a lot more cars to get back on the lead lap if we did get a caution after Biffle pits. Keep quite a few more drivers in this race still, and he's got all the track to try to get down onto pit road, which is going to allow him to carry a little bit more speed on entry this time, and he does. So Biffle is in. Clean entry for his first 2 green flag stops of the day. More than likely going to have to make one more in that final stage, unless we get a caution right at the midway point. And he is in. A slide going into his box. The angle we were pitted into. Nobody else on pit road, parking like an asshole. taking up all the space. That's like the same person that parks taking up like 2 or 3 spots in the parking lot at Walmart. Gonna have to be careful leaving the pits. There's a pack of cars. Biffle back to 7th place. The leaders are in that group. Kind of cycled out about where he was. He's still trying to get up to speed, but that pack was pretty slow, and he was catching them before. Now he's got fresher tires. Although his car's still damaged, so I don't know how quick he's going to get there, but he's going to try. We're about to have a battle for the lead for the first time in a while here in Stage 2. Assuming Biffle gets to that group. Depends who's leading that pack, really. That's what it all boils down to. They got single file there for a second. Couple cars fanning out on the back straightaway, but more towards the back of that pack. Somebody slower still has to be leading that pack. At least the 3rd car in on back. Because the top 2 start to pull away a little bit. Oh, we've got cars pitting. Oh, big wreck coming to pit road. Left front tires down for Greg Biffle. I looked down at the chat for a quick second, and when I looked back up, we had cars pitting. They were stopped in the middle of the track. One car spun onto pit road. Biffle's got a left front tire down. So much for potentially winning the stage. Oh, here come the whole pack of cars. Got to get back down. Oh my gosh, no caution. We stay green. Have to work back up onto the raceway now. I looked up and there was nowhere to go. I locked the brakes and I slid right into the car coming into the pits. I couldn't tell who that was. We stay green. And now Biffle's got a pit this time by. It was Larson. Poor Kyle Larson. Well, the good news is Biffle's not going to be a lap down. The bad news is he's likely not going to win the stage anymore. Should still be on the lead lap. He's going to have to pit again. 4 tires and fuel. I was not expecting cars to pit right there. And he had to have lost a lot of time limping this car all the way back around. He is in to pit road. Oh, it wasn't. Oh, you guys were answering a trivia question. I was thinking it was Kyle Larson. That was not good for Greg Biffle. And that's going to add more damage to the front of the car, too. Now we just got to hope we finish on the lead lap to the end of the stage. I would like to think we still will be able to, considering everybody else going to have to pit, but pretty much zero chance Biffle's going to win this stage. I was not expecting them to pit that soon. I mean, 2 laps after we pitted? Not expecting that at all. Almost spun coming out of the pits. '31st. Just past halfway in the Daytona 500. Biffle just blew a left front. In contact with the car coming into the pits at the last second. Well, now I'm gonna be more alert. That has definitely hurt the single car speed because now Biffle's struggling to hit 175 miles an hour. So he is definitely lacking in the speed department now. Just has to hope that he is going to cycle back out ahead of the rest of the leaders before the end of the stage, which we have about 26 to go in stage 2 yet. Race just, as it progresses, becomes harder and harder to win, it feels. But if we have a lead lap finish at the end of stage 2, we at least have a chance to try to get the W and pull off the upset with New York race of the Daytona 500. Got a couple other cars on pit road right now as well. But the damage before, it was still okay, but now it is definitely slower. He's struggling to get to 175 miles an hour single car speed. At his fastest, he was up to about 182, 183. So he has knocked off almost 10 miles per hour of speed on that race car between the wreck and then that collision coming into the pits there. I was at a higher rated speed on a slower car, which definitely did more damage than the wreck earlier, honestly. These bodies are stiff and durable on the next gen car, but they're not built for compacting into cars at about a 150 mile an hour difference. Now the plan here for Greg Biffle's to definitely pit during the stage break once again. There's a good chance he should be able to make it on fuel. One stop in the final stage. 35 laps is about what he's been able to go in a full tank of gas. So 35 at the limit there, he can make it on one stop. But everybody else is going to have to pit twice. That's why it's important for him to finish on the lead lap to the end of the stage for that reason. The problem is that even though he has to pit one last time, this car is severely damaged, as you can see. So he is not going to be that quick. So you just got to hope basically a one lap advantage is about what he's going to have, at least in the middle of stage number 3. Will he have enough drafting help to at least hold his own? And if he does go a lap down before the end of the stage, the bright side of things, he can get that lap back. But then it's going to be even harder for him to win the race. Again, because of the lack of speed. What has this Daytona 500 turned into? There were 23 cars on the lead lap to start the stage. Pretty much position-wise about what we're looking at. Got Blaney for position just up ahead, who is leaving pit road currently. But would like to stay in the draft of another car, try to get the speed up a little bit. Don't know if he's going to get to Corey LaJoie and Ryan Blaney or not. It's going to be close. Trying to get a draft off of LaJoie. Don't think he's quite close enough. He's so close to being in the draft, and LaJoie is just a little bit too far behind Blaney as well, it seems. Who knows? Maybe Biffle's catching something. Blaney's definitely pulling the 7. 7 and the 44 are fairly equal right now. LaJoie is a lap down when he started this stage. He's in 38th, Biffle in 28th. Looks like Biffle's in the draft of LaJoie, getting into turns 1 and 2 now. Really big run on him. Got to give him a big push on the back straightaway. Josh Balicki trying to get up to speed into turn 3. LaJoie's teammate. Oh, Biffle clipped the apron trying to get underneath the 7. That's going to cost him. He's trying to get around him with the 77 stalling up on the outside, and Biffle clipped the apron. Trying to get by LaJoie. Both LaJoie and Balicki further back for Spire Motorsports. Biffle at 24th right now. Blaney 23rd. A lot of cars still likely have to pit, though. Unfortunately for Biffle, he is maybe a little too far back to catch the 7 and the 77 who are tandeming together. So they get side by side, or the 77 slow enough. Biffle still may be able to get to him anyway. Two cars on pit road. Christopher Bell at 7th. Just leaving the pits. That's not good for Greg Biffle. Handful of seconds ahead of him still, but that means the top 6, if they have already cycled off a pit road, are ahead of Biffle. I would imagine that they haven't all pit. Maybe they all still have to pit. Biffle lifting. He's just got to stay behind LaJoy and Bilicki now. A little smarter. He needs to try to just stay in the draft of some cars right now. Try to stay ahead of Bell and whoever else is still going to have to come out of the pits yet. 15 laps to go in stage 2. And Biffle just trying to finish on the lead lap to the end of the stage. He's got damage after the big one. The end of stage 1. Got underneath LaJoy and Bilicki that time in the middle of turns 1 and 2. Got Bowman coming out of the pits. That's a spot. Biffle just gets in front of LaJoy. He hasn't cleared. Still behind the 77 of Bilicki. Suarez in 5th. He's right in front of Brian Blaney. Not sure if Suarez has to pit or not yet. He does have to pit. He's pitting right now. Blaney had to check up quite a bit into the tri-oval. Look, he's got a big draft off the 12. Stay parked in line right behind him. Biffle managing the throttle off the exit of turn 2. Protecting the bottom. He's just trying to stay in line really with the 77. Like to keep the 7 behind him as well. Blaney might lead the 77 ahead of the 44 though. He's definitely got a fast enough car to do so. Christopher Bell's the race leader. 6 seconds behind where Greg Biffle's at on the racetrack right now. No! Biffle's around in the tri-oval. He's up against the wall. There's no caution. We stay green. I believe. Oh, here come the leaders. Bell and Chastain trying to lap Biffle. Biffle got hooked in the tri-oval. I don't think he made a block. The 7 got into the left rear and turned him. No caution. He somehow didn't hit anything. But the top 2 are now right behind him. He had a 6-second gap, and now that's no longer. Just got turned. He does not have a fast car either. It's going to be tough to stay in front of Bell and Chastain here to the end of the stage. Side by side for the race lead. Chastain to the lead, by the way. He gets by Bell temporarily. They're side by side still, leaning on each other into turn 1. Still 11 laps to go yet in stage 2. Door to door. Ice Demon King 92 Hammer, thanks for tuning in. Nobody able to really get a run on Biffle with them being side by side for the lead. Between Ross Chastain and Christopher Bell. Nobody has to pit to the end of the stage, at least of lead lap cars. Biffle just trying to block. We'll go to the far chase cam for the rest of the race now. You can see how close that gap is with the 1 and the 20. Biffle's car is damaged. Bell gonna get around him. Biffle a lap down in 23rd, but needs to get to the lead lap before the end of stage 2. That's gonna be his best chance, obviously, of trying to win this race. And maybe the only chance. It's gonna be tough to come from a lap down. We've only had 2 cautions today and only 1 caution per incident. Despite the fact we've seen a couple other incidents that didn't bring out a caution like that spin you saw moments ago. I think Bell's gonna end up catching some cars a little bit further up ahead. I do think Bell's too far ahead of Biffle. Biffle can't keep up with him. He just doesn't have a fast enough car with the damage. It was not from that spin. He was damaged from the big one towards the end of stage 1. Interesting if we get another caution for incident towards the end of stage 2, especially with this pack and a few of these cars trying to battle for the win. It's LaJoie holding up Bowman. Biffle seemed to be a little bit quicker than the 7. His best chance is LaJoie trying to hold up Christopher Bell and Alex Bowman, specifically Christopher Bell enough. There's no free pass position in this game either, so even though Biffle's the first car lap down right now, that really doesn't matter. He needs to, the old-fashioned way, get the lap back on Christopher Bell here. He's got to keep as many of these cars behind him as possible. He's going to be faster with Chastain pushing him anyway with how fast the one car is today. Eric Jones is in third in the 43 for Petty GMS. It's not Legacy Motor Club until 23. Which, even though it's technically 2023 real life, not in this game. Bell gets by Bowman, I do believe, but he is still behind LaJoie, which is going to be good for Biffle. They're 2 seconds behind, but Bell's got so much speed, it looks like he's just going to get by LaJoie anyway on the back straightaway. Could be wrong. Actually, I think Bell might be the third car in that group, almost 3 wide going into turn 3. Mostly single file is this group around Biffle. Ever since Bell joined that pack up there, though, it's almost like even though he's stuck behind him, he's giving LaJoie enough of a push that they're pulling Biffle in the rest of this pack as long as Biffle leads this pack. Definitely losing time. It's going to be risky to let Ross Chastain just go and draft behind him because he lost Christopher Bell, but if he could somehow stay with him, that's probably the best chance catching this group. So let one of these cars get by him because they are still losing time. Either this or Biffle just hangs on. He's going to pit during the stage break regardless. He's only got 5.5 laps to catch him. He's pitting during the stage regardless. He's got nothing else to lose. He's already a lap down. Gonna fall in line. Almost turned Bubba Wallace. That was pretty close. That actually cut the momentum off of Biffle even more. Making that slight contact with the 23. Really hoping Chastain could just push the 44 to try and stay with the 23. They're going to keep up with him. I think Bubba Wallace is fast enough. The problem is Christopher Bell just got by Alex Bowman. Well, he got by Bowman. He hasn't got by LaJoie yet. We have less than 5 laps. Biffle bump drafts the 44. That caused him to get loose. The bump draft got Biff loose. He slides head-on into the inside retaining wall. Well, he's already a lap down. Already a lap down, so as long as he doesn't go 2 laps down, which I don't know how long I'm going to be sitting here for because this is ridiculous. Gotta get going here. We gotta be wasting too much time. More damage on the race car. Come on, car! I did not do that. It is just drifting on me. And now Biffle just blew a right front. This is ridiculous, man. Right front down on Greg Biffle. I just can't. I can't. I mean, the right front's down now. It's going to bring out a caution. We're going to be 2 laps down because of a scoring glitch, more than likely. No caution there either. There goes Bell. No fuel. Right sides only. Oh my gosh. 2 laps down now. I was just sitting on the back straightaway for so long. And then as I was getting up to speed, the car veered right in the middle of the back straightaway, and then I blew a tire. And now we're into our box head on. This has cost us even more time. I have no control of the car there. Just damage it some more, why don't you? This game, I swear. Just progressively getting worse for us. So we're 2 down. I don't care if there's a blend line here. I mean, there's nobody coming right now. We got to stay in front of Bell. I'm already 2 laps down. Two laps down, the leaders are coming. They're right there. Now Biffle's trying not to go 3 laps down, and Christopher Bell, the race leader, is within a couple cars behind Greg Biffle, still trying to get up to speed and trying to block at the same time. We went from lead lap to nearly 3 laps down that quickly. Car's really loose with taking the right sides only, and how burnt out the left sides are with the couple spins in a row you saw there. The good news is, with being this many laps down, the stage is going to end very shortly. Biffle's on the lead lap to start the stage. Was leading at one point in this stage. He's probably led the most laps in this race still to this point today. And now is struggling just to break 170 miles per hour on speed. He's blown a couple tires in today's race. Get the best finish we can. No stage points today, despite probably leading the most laps through the first 2 stages. And now we're 2 laps down, 39th. It's long. I mean, Bell's back in traffic. Feel confident even if a couple cars get by Greg Biffle here. Should finish this stage 2 down. And yep, stage is over behind him. So Greg Biffle will be 2 laps down at the end of the stage. Well, he's ahead of Todd Gilliland. He may be out of the race, honestly. I don't know. There's got to be other cars that are 2 laps down. We can get some spots back. Christopher Bell's going to win Stage 2 today. His first stage win in the early going of the season. Eric Jones finishes 2nd. Ross Chastain 3rd. Ty Dillon 4th. Kyle Busch 5th. Austin Dillon 6th. Eric Almirola 7th. Kevin Harvick 8th. William Byron 9th. And Cody Ware rounds out the top 10 in Stage 2. And, Greg Biffle, 2 laps down. Start the final stage in the Daytona 500. They're going to pit during the stage break. Oh my gosh, I'm going to be taking right sides only. I think I'm going to end up taking right sides only. You've got to be kidding me right now. I swear, this is just... This isn't right. It's because I changed to go right sides only to not lose another lap under green. I'm probably going to end up having right sides. Even though I have 4 here, it's dependent on what your green flag setup looks like. We'll know for sure here in a moment. Really hope we take 4. Take 4, please. Okay, we're taking 4. Thank God. I thought I was gonna take 2 there for a second. We're taking 4. I have to remember to change that on the restart. We got 4. We've got 4. Well, hopefully we'll be there at the end. 70 laps, final stage. 5 laps longer than stages 1 and 2. Green flag is back in the air in the Daytona 500. Not sure how many cars are on the lead lap at the end of the stage. It's like maybe 24 cars on the lead lap. We know Biffle's 2 laps down. We'll try to get through these cars as quickly as he can. A little bit of a speed glitch there off turn 2. Took it 3 wide initially there. Trying to get by as many cars as possible. He's got cars in front of him and behind him. He'll be alright. Shouldn't have to worry about cars pitting immediately this early in the stage. Now, Biffle can make it on one stop. He can go 35 laps at a full tank of fuel. It's about his maximum. But if he goes 35... He goes 35 laps. A bump trap there to Hesmans. He got a little loose. Biffle wanted to stay in the gas, though. Luckily, it didn't turn him. Biffle starting to lose these guys just a little bit on the back straightaway. Desperately trying to stay in the draft. Might not be enough. There's a fast enough car leading this pack. Might be hurting the Biff. And Hesmans isn't a fast enough car pushing him, I think, too. Hesmans, Ely, Gillen. I don't think anybody is 2 laps down other than Greg Biffle. Everybody else is 1 down. Yeah, I didn't get hit from behind when I spun off of turn 2. I bump drafted Bubba Wallace and my car got loose off of turn 2. Which caused that second spin there at the end of the stage when we were 1 lap down, and that caused us to go a 2nd lap down, unfortunately. So it wasn't even like I got turned necessarily. I was trying to push the 23, and that stinks. We only have 4 laps left in the stage, too. Like, 1 lap down, we still could have had a chance, but 2 laps down, it's pretty much over now. We'd have to get a perfect caution at a right moment in order to get back into this race. We're going to be able to make up 1 lap. That's probably going to be about it. Staying out, trying to get as many points as we can, though, to the end. That's all we can do. We got another chance at Daytona to redeem ourselves on Monday. Next week on Monday, 6 days from now, we'll run our 2nd race of this NASCAR 22 custom schedule season. It'll be a 50% race at Daytona. It'll be under the lights, so it'll be an 80-lap race. So it should be probably a 2-stop race. Maybe some drivers can make it on 1. It'll be interesting. Could be a fuel mileage race for some drivers. But with the stages, it's going to be interesting how that splits up, too. Not sure what the stage lengths are exactly going to be. Definitely going to be able to go through stage 1 without pitting. I don't know about the other stages, though. Definitely going to hope for redemption. That's all we can hope for. We know he's going to have a fast car at the super speedways. Hesman's going to get by. I think Biffle should be able to draft with him. Probably going to be good that he passes. Might keep the speed up in the 44. He's just got to make sure not to bump draft him. Could be hard not to, but he's going to have to make sure not to. Got to stay on throttle as much as he possibly can as well. Definitely going to have to watch out for what Hesseman's pits. Really be at any given moment. Got to be ready for it. Draft to the back of the 27, just really try not to lift. It's dangerous to do that in the middle of the corner. That's how Biffle spun off of turn 2 earlier. Trying to bump draft Bubba Wallace. Doesn't help, his front bumper is not aligning correctly with all the damage. A couple lead lap cars stuck back here as well. These guys Biffle's around right now. By the time they all cycle off of pit road, it's going to be a very good chance that he could be racing them for position then to the end of the race. So probably looking at a potential top 30. It's not going to be a lot of points. It's going to be better than nothing. Definitely not a good way to start the season, I'll tell you that much. Definitely going to have to be mistake-free in this final stage, otherwise he's going to end up finishing 39th or 40th. We don't know if Gillen's actually in the race or not. Just because we see him on the leaderboard doesn't mean he's in it. See him from time to time. Until I actually see his car. It's not confirmed. Telling you, New York racing, it's not going to be easy. If we don't take advantage of the super speedways, we're going to be in a world of hurt just trying to make it into the playoffs. Got to the outside of Hesseman's. I wasn't sure if he was going to pit or not there. Try to stay on the throttle. We'll duck back in line just in front of J.J. Yaley, for Yaley actually got underneath of the 44. This guy's catching up to B.J. McLeod for position. McLeod has lost that pack just up ahead. Burps the throttle just a little bit. That's something he wants to do being down speed, but he really didn't want to bump draft the middle of the corner that time, especially with the 55 close behind him. It wasn't that close behind him. Neither was Buescher last time he bump drafted the 27. Drafts Hesseman's a little bit there. Will Hesseman's pit this time? Yes, he will. Biffle was anticipating it for a couple laps. Was able to get out of the way. Problem is, he's got nobody directly behind him or in front of him. Hopefully it's not going to be for too much longer, though. Best thing that can happen is a caution comes out after everybody cycles through. Because then Biffle could pit. He's already made up a lap, and everybody still would have to pit one more time anyway. They would all have to pit before this 44, too. Well, they probably all pit around the caution. Unless they don't pit during the yellow at all. That would be really interesting. Some of them have already pit, though, so wouldn't get Biffle all the way back on the lead lap, but he'd get a lot more positions out of it. Yeah, that first wreck at stage 2 spin, I guess, after contact from LaJoie, didn't do us in, but it was for that. I just realized both spins I had in this race that caused damage to the car were both from the Spire Motorsport cars. Made contact with Balicki going into turn 3, door to door. Not sure really whose fault that was. And then LaJoie just turned Biffle in the middle of the tri-oval. Tried to bump draft him, didn't hit him square, and turned him. almost doesn't even want to let anybody else in front of him to draft behind until everybody pits. By the way, Hesman cycled out in front of Biffle in that 37th place position. He's all by himself. 3.5 seconds ahead of the Biff. It's not good for Biffle that he is... I mean, he's going to make up a lap, but he's still going to be behind these guys by quite a bit. Continues to block Yaley. It is looking more and more likely that we might only have just the one caution per incident today in the Daytona 500, and it was towards the end of Stage 1. I mean, if this runs green all the way to the end, we're going to have the 2 stage breaks, but just one caution per incident in this Daytona 500. Very, very close to a caution-free race. Pusher to the outside. Finally had a car get by Biffle. Be a shame if he pits, though. It might be all for nothing. Biffle gonna have to be on the lookout if he does pit. Hope he does not make his way in that time. Larson, a faster car than J.J. Yaley on that outside lane. It's going to allow Biffle to close in on the 17 even more. He's going to have to block the 5, though, because of how strong he is. Busher not going to pit this time. Nope, 0 stage points. 0 stage points, and it's not looking like we're going to get many race points either. As of right now, if we stay in 38th, we're only going to get 1. It'll be a lap down once everybody makes a stop. Most drivers still have to pit twice yet. Biffle one more time. Busher pit this time. Nope. No, not a good start to the season at all. I mean, we're going to end up leading over 50 laps, but not get any stage points today. And it was all at the end of the stages where we got costed stage points both times, too. Great position all the way from pretty much start of the stage towards the end. It was one mistake both times. Notice ever since Buescher started leading this pack, they're catching Hesmans. That would be a position for Greg Biffle. Hesmans is already pit. Even though it's still only 1 point for finishing 37th and 38th. No difference as far as points go. Got to get above 36 to start accumulating points per position. It'll be 1 point per spot. Buescher's going to get a big pull in the 27 when he gets close enough to him. People's got to hope he can stay with the 17 because he just does not have enough speed. Otherwise, the good news is Larson's the car behind him. The Hendrick cars have really been some of the fastest in the field today. Chase Elliott won Stage 1. And although Christopher Bell was the winner in Stage 2, see Buescher getting a big pull. And Biffle's just going to go for it. Underneath the 17, Larson follows him. Biffle to the inside of the 27. Can't quite get around it for position. Biffle did get by another car, though. Josh Balicki would be a spot. As well as Corey LaJoie up there. The Spire cars have been right around each other all day today. Well, LaJoie, extra couple seconds ahead of where Balicki's at. I mean, knowing Hesmans is already pit, I think it's best for Biffle to just stay in line behind him. Especially knowing that Biffle isn't that strong as a lead car in the pack anyway. Hesmans moved down to the bottom there. Chastain pulled up in front of Buescher on the back straightaway, held him up, so there's no drafting help behind the 44 Biffle anymore. So he is desperately trying to stay with Hesmans. Definitely can't lift if he gets close. He's just going to have to push him and hope he hits him square, even if it's in the middle of the corner. Now we got a car pitting just up ahead. This is going to hold. It's going to hold Hesmans up here. Hesmans probably going to start to check. A lot of these other cars going to check as well. That car pitting in this pack. And that's going to allow Greg Biffle to make some passes for position. And now he's up to 33rd. So, I mean, there is hope to at least get some spots. He's not going to be able to be leading this pack, though. He'd have to be the second car in line. We know the cars for position that he has passed definitely have pit. I don't know about necessarily Austin Dillon there in 9th. They'll have to pit or not. '15 car looking to the inside. Biffle giving him room. Biffle just gets down in front of LaJoie. Hoping to keep close with Garrett Smithley in the 15 for Rick Ware Racing. Buescher's going to be a spot. Biffle back to 33rd. Almirola trying to get up to speed in 8th. Coming out of the pits. He's in 8th on the lead lap. Again, Biffle 1 lap down right now. assuming all the lead lap cars end up pitting. Definitely not going to be able to go nearly 50 laps on fuel. Almirola up to 4th. I wonder if Almirola might actually be the leader. He's fast enough, though, that the 15's able to keep up with the 10 in the draft, and Biffle's not really able to keep up with the 15, unfortunately, with LaJoie behind him. Kyle Busch leads. Eric Almirola second in the Daytona 500. Biffle 1 lap down in this 44 car right now. I mean, maybe he's 2 laps down if he ran slow enough after everybody cycled through pit stops. It's not impossible. He's going to have to let LaJoie go. He's trying to block right now. Give up the position temporarily. Hopes that he can get down to the bottom quickly here. And he does, right in front of Austin Dillon. We know Dillon's got a fast car. The 10 car was just kind of pulling the 15. Even though Biffle's fast enough to keep up with the 15 in the draft, he had the 10 in front of him. See, LaJoie's in front of him, but I believe with nobody in front of LaJoie, Biffle should be able to keep up with him. Especially with Austin Dillon, who has a pretty fast race car pushing this 44 of Biffle. Biffle on slightly older tires as well, which doesn't help. Kyle Busch has been caught by Eric Almirola. Again, they are 1-2. A win, and you're in the playoffs, but obviously, for today's race specifically, seeing who may win the Daytona 500, and in this final stage, with less than a quarter of the race to go, can Kyle Busch finally win his first career Daytona 500? And Larson up to 4th as well. These guys in this pack trying to catch those leaders. Garrett Smithley's probably going to lose the 10 and the 18 at some point here. Unless they catch slower cars in front of them. 5 seconds ahead of where 7 and 44 are right now. Biffle at least keep it up a little bit with Corey LaJoie. Got the Spire cars still split up. Quarter tank of gas left at the line that time. Biffle will have to pit at lap 35. Well, the problem is, though, he made up a lap. So he's actually going to have to go a lap further in this stage than everybody else. So he's going to have to go 35-36. And if he somehow gets back on the lead lap, I don't know. I mean, the pacing's off enough. I think we might still end up being 2 laps down versus the leaders, even though we've made a lap up on quite a few other drivers. Smithley able to get around the 10. Kevin Harvick battling for 3rd with Austin Dillon. Two SHR Fords now inside the top 4. People almost lost Corey LaJoie. Wilson in a little bit on the back straightaway. $40 laps to go at the Daytona 500. Oh man, Biffle just got loose! Off turn 2, head on into the inside wall. He's got 2 tires down. I don't know how that happened, but the car just got loose off the exit of turn 2. That was similar to what happened when I was behind Wallace, but I did not make contact with anybody that time. It just jarred straight to the left, and you'd have to wonder if the damage on the car caused that to happen. He's got a right rear and a left front down. That was out of pure randomness, no caution. Now there's zero chance we're gonna get any other points. We might get stuck down in the grass if we don't keep the car rolling. Keep it rolling, keep it rolling. Come on. Oh, we're going to lose like 2 more laps at least. I think Gilliland's out of the race, so at least we won't finish last. 39th it is. Oh, we're not going to get any more positions. There's no way. Because we're still going to have to pit one more time after this, too. We're about 5 laps outside the fuel window. I don't know how the car got loose there. Zero clue how that happened. Before, it's because I think I bump drafted Bubba Wallace, but that time I had zero contact with anybody, and the car just broke sideways off of turn 2. Third time we've spun and didn't get a caution either. It's like the cautions aren't even working after stage 1 or something. I don't know. Yeah. Oh, no, we are in last. So we might be able to get 39th. But that'd be it, and that'd still be 1 position. So that being the case, I think I'm just going to take the DNF here. I really don't want to run this out to the check. Yeah, we're just going to take a last place finish in this one. I know we only have 40 laps to go, but we're literally going to... We could finish 39th, but that's not even a point difference between 39th and 40th. And we're at least 4 laps down now. We're either 4 or 5 laps down. And our car's even more damaged. Now I can't even top 165, 166 by myself on straightaway. So we're going to have to do a quick race here at the end to simulate the finish of this Daytona 500. Why didn't I get the car repaired? You can't actually repair the car in this game. Like, you can, there's settings to actually repair the car, but it doesn't repair the car. There's a visual of them actually trying to fix the car, but it doesn't do anything. The only thing, it's actually worse to have that on because it makes your pit stop even slower, and it makes your pit stop slower and doesn't actually repair damage. So there's no sense of even trying to repair it if it doesn't repair it anyway. That's tough. I mean, honestly, the damage, I think, is what caused us to get loose those couple other times. If we didn't wreck at the end of stage 1, I think we would have had a good car that was capable of winning. So, honestly, when we go back to Daytona next week for that 50% night race, I think we'll have and it's only 80 laps. We don't have to survive 200. We only have to survive 80. So we just have to survive 200 miles. I think we could do that. We might have a shot to win that race. We'll have more condensed restarts because the shorter stages, so likelihood of having anybody lap down is going to be very slim unless we get any cautions with scoring glitches. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. That'll be next week. We still have to finish this one today, so don't go anywhere because we have to find out who's going to win this Daytona 500. Not a good start to the season for Greg Biffle, finishing dead last in the Daytona 500. I think he finished right around there in the actual 500 too.
I'm Alex Saden, welcoming you to
So who will win the Daytona 500 and win the first race of the season?
Today is about avoiding the big one and giving yourself a chance at the end. Drivers know.
Those dang Spire Motorsport cars cost us. That's what we get. We get wrecked with a couple back markers because we're a back marker ourselves. We have to run around those guys, unfortunately. Suarez towards the front here. Obviously, with the being Daytona, anybody could win anyway, for the most part. So even with Kyle Busch and Eric Almirola leading the race at that point with 40 laps to go, somebody else could have easily have taken the lead with 40 to go. So we're going to have about 4 laps shootout. We're going to end up finishing last regardless of what happens here. So even if I make passes for position, we will end up still finishing dead last. Scrape the wall there. I know we have a fast car anyway. Curious to know how many spots I can actually gain in a short amount of time. Yikes. Yeah, that might be about it. I don't know. 3 laps to go in our Daytona 500. Kyle Busch back to 28th. Not looking likely for him to win. Single file through about the top 6 or 7 right now at the front of the field. Two laps to go this time by. I mean, if you count these 4 laps and figure we were a handful of laps down, I mean, realistically, we only didn't run the last 25, 30 laps, so we ran the majority of this race still. Well over halfway, so we won't be doing anything else here tonight. 2 laps to go. You just wonder who's at the front of the field. Chase Elliott won stage 1. Christopher Bell won stage 2. And again, this is a kind of simulated version of the end. We DNF, finished last, crashed out in the final stage. Really anywhere between 25 to 30 to go, we pulled off the track. Car was absolutely demolished. Definitely didn't look like what it looks like now. It was not a clean car. And we will finish dead last regardless here, so that's just 1 point. No stage points either. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go. .25, 25, 30. That's the stages for the other Daytona race. So, I mean, if I time it out right, I don't know what I want to split the stages into, though, pitting-wise. Because they may be able to make it on 1 stop. It'd be close. Checkered flag will wave off turn 4, and a mostly single file line in that lead pack, at least towards the very front of the field. And we'll take a look at who just won the Daytona 500. 64th running. With this being last year's driver lineup. Daniel Suarez is going to go on to win his first career race, and it's in the Daytona 500. Want to talk about an upset winner? There's one. And Suarez didn't make the playoffs on our first season either, so he is already going to be in the playoffs right out of the gate as long as we don't get more than 16 winners. Daniel Suarez wins the Daytona 500 by 900ths of a second over Justin Haley. I guess it was a pretty close finish, all things considered there. Justin Haley ends up second. Eric Jones finished third. He was running pretty good all day. Todd Gilliland, who would have finished probably 39th, ends up finishing fourth. Chris Buescher, 5th. Bubba Wallace, 6th. Alex Bowman, 7th. Cole Custer, 8th. Kurt Busch, 9th. And Kyle Larson will round out the top 10 in our Daytona 500 today. So Daniel Suarez, I'm not sure where he finished in the stages today, but ends up winning the race. That's all that matters. He is the Daytona 500 champion on this custom schedule season for NASCAR 22. Our stage winners, Stage 2 winner Christopher Bell finished 12th. And then Stage 1 winner Chase Elliott finished 22nd. So that is going to wrap up the stream today. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. I'll see you guys on the channel tomorrow as we will be doing our first live commentary live stream during Speed Weeks, as we will be watching together. I'll be doing commentary for it, but I'll be doing commentary for tomorrow night's Daytona 500 qualifying session. Our stream will begin at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The first car rolls off for qualifying at 8:15 Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, so we'll go live about 15 minutes or so before they actually get going. So can't wait for that one. We'll get to see who will start on the front row of the Daytona 500. We'll also get to see 2 of the Open drivers lock themselves into the race this weekend. Of the 6 Open entries, 2 will miss the show. It'll be interesting how that's going to unfold over the next 48 hours. Appreciate it, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. We kickstarted Speed Weeks today, but the real Speed Weeks starts tomorrow night on the channel. Hope to see you guys then. Thanks for watching. And again, hit that like button on the way out. 40 likes on the stream today. Greatly appreciated, everybody. See you guys tomorrow night.